Hello and welcome everybody to Aero League Racing GT7 Season 15 Tier 4 Round 2 Road Atlanta. This is Moose, your commentator for the season, and looks like we're in the dark, which is exciting. I heard this is quite the race, and we're just going to wait a few minutes while people file into the stream here, and we will try to get this going somewhat quickly. So, skip ahead or just hang on for a sec. Hello. I think we'll just get started here. I think probably a few more will be joining us here shortly. Welcome again to Tier 4 Round 2 Road Atlanta. Nice race here in the dark, which will certainly make things interesting, and I've heard that it definitely gets interesting. So hopefully some good action along with that. So, for our starting grid, we have in pole position after a kind of a mixed result last round at Spa. Otto had pole position, spun out of turn 1 on the second lap, and kind of fell apart for him there, but had a very impressive and successful feature race with a win there. So clearly has the pace and is on pole once again for 2 pole positions now this season, 2 for 2 in the Renault, which is seems to be working quite well for him. Yeah, we'll see. Have to see how that works out today. He clocked in a 117.97 nil, which was just under a tenth off of P2, who was Swavey, who did a nice gamble on hard tires. Did a hard medium strategy for the feature race last round. He had finished up with a sprint win, with a fastest lap, and the gamble in the feature didn't quite work out. But Auto was just, I think, too fast anyway. He had a 1:18.066, and he's in the Toyota Supra. In P3 is Amy, who had a bit of a rough week last week, but I think does have the pace to compete well in this tier. And clearly with the P3, with a 1:18.302, just over 2/10 back there on Swavey. So the pair of Renaults looking quite nice here at Atlanta, which will make for an interesting race, I think. And speaking of teammates, the teammate of Swavey, Mo, is in P4 with the other Supra. P5 will go to Yuri and the AMG. Cherry in P6 with the Lamborghini Huracan. I think pretty good results generally last round there. Draz in P7 with the Ford GT. O'Leary in P8 with what's this car? Oh yeah, the Ferrari 458. P9 is Pasty with the Huracan. James in P10 with the 458, and Gin Tonics with P11 and the Ford GT. Brian's in P12 with the 650S, and who I believe is a new entry to ALR, at least in proper tier racing, is Shush. He is driving the Audi R8 LMS Evo. I think he's the only one with that car, at least who has driven so far. So everybody's on the soft tire. As predicted for the sprint will be roughly 15 minutes, which is going to work out to 12 laps here, and which will be followed by a roughly 40-minute feature race. So my guess is right around 30 laps or so. So again, thanks for joining, and let's get started. 5 lights, and away we go for round 2. And it is quite dark here in this pretty famous racetrack just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And we are looking pretty clean so far. James and Cherry into turn 3 alongside each other, but James is going to get the advantage out on that for P6. Cherry there in P7 has Pasty just behind him there, and Pasty now getting the pressure from O'Leary. Shush is already up 3 positions, and flashing quite a bit there. I'm taking damage already. I don't think so. Wouldn't have cleared up that quickly. I don't know. Jen in P12, so he's dropped 1 since the start there. And Brian's unfortunately with a half-second penalty. So just Shush moving through the order here. With a very good start for himself. And very quickly putting pressure on P9, which is O'Leary and his Ferrari. Looking somewhat steady so far in the sprint race. Mo and Yuri doing slightly different things here. Mo is kind of all over the place. I'm not sure how much of that is the replay itself. But for now, we will keep most of our positions. not too much going on here early in this race. I spoke just too soon there. Shush moving alongside O'Leary. And will break a bit later there, and he's going to make a little bit of contact with Pasty, and Pasty's going to go off into the grass, and that is a bit of an unfortunate incident there. Pasty moving down to P11, now P12 with Jin moving well past him there. And if I could find the words I am trying to find, we'll get there. It's very late. O'Leary with a little bit of a misstep, and Draz moving past for P9. Pasty on the grass again there. Oh, he's really having trouble getting back on. 1 second penalty for him. Have to cut somewhere, not really sure. And Jin getting caught behind him, which is just a bit unfortunate for his race. I think he's... I'm not really sure though. Our top three remain the same. Yuri has moved up from P5, so it's 1 position for him there. Off the start. And Mo started P4, so just to swap positions between the two. James started P10 and is up to P6 now. A few mistakes around him there, just taking good advantage of that. And as always, he adjusts his livery for the track, as you can see. Well, bits of America. And on the back there. Fastest lap of the moment is going to Swavey, and he is teetering around just a second behind Otto Tillon. Hello, Gilles. Good evening. Thank you for joining. Always good to have you. Swavey putting a bit of pressure on Otto Tillon there. We'll see how this sorts itself out. It's the feature race. Gilles asks, how is my Castrol teammate James doing so far? Let's see. P6. Started P10, so up 4 spots. So I'd say quite well. And he's not too far behind Mo here, and Mo's been a little bit shaky on track, hence him dropping a little bit further back on Yuri in front. So there's a possibility James will be able to catch P5. He's certainly closing the gap here, somewhat quickly, but I might have a little commentator's curse. He goes slightly off curb there into the grass, but all is good so far. We have quite a few gaps here. One of the closest gaps here is between P1 and P2. Looking like maybe 2 of the fastest drivers in this tier. Amy not too far behind at all, and much bigger gap there to P4 with Yuri. And Mo still catching up there, trying to take that place back that Yuri grabbed early on. And James definitely still in that battle as well. Half second there for Brian's. It's off to a bit of a rough start again there. I do believe he will get it together. I hope so, at least. Swavey looking to put on a move at the beginning of lap 7 here. He's still putting on the pressure, but Aero is looking very calm and very collected. Just off the mark there. And again, I speak just a little too soon. No doors opening for Swavey quite yet. It certainly does seem to have the pace. And the fastest lap is Auto by only 1/100th of a second difference there between the two. On the same lap as well. So they seem to be just sticking to each other for the moment. Yuri directly on the back of Mo. And this nice battle for P4. Shush is going to serve a 1-second penalty, which will drop him within targeting range for Draz. Won't be quite enough yet, but if Draz can keep up the pace, Shush will be in a little bit of trouble. But Shush off to a good start as he started in the back. Is now up to P8. And James as well. Still up 4 positions. Nice close battle here between the Supra and the AMG. Supra is struggling a little bit more on tire wear, so maybe he's pushing just slightly too much. Amy is now caught up to Swavey. Swavey seems to have made a mistake because he was right on the back of Auto Artillon not too long ago. Amy really pushing here, trying to find a little bit of space. Be a little bit too far back to make a challenge here into the call it a large chicane. Gets a little bit out of sorts and will drop a few tenths there to Swavey. The battle of P2 is allowing P4 and P5 to catch up just a little bit. Very dark here in Atlanta, so see how I don't know what the time settings were in fairness, so see how this works out for the future race. Only really pretty much at this point 2.5 laps remaining in this. 3.5 laps, excuse me. Math. Auto is looking very smooth and very solid. If this turns out, this will be his second win, and on top of the second pole of this season in only 2 rounds. And of course, we have a reverse grid for the feature race, so top 10 will reverse. So if this holds, he'll start P10, but clearly has the pace to move through the pack. So not just the pace, but seemingly, at least at this point, the consistency to really make a challenge too. So this might end up being a very good day for him. Gaps are starting to widen across the grid. A little bit of a battle here. Jin's dropped all the way to the back, which is quite unfortunate. Usually a pretty quick driver. I think somewhat high expectations for him this season. But currently behind his own teammate for P10 and P11. Draz is really struggling for grip there, and Jin will get right past him, and that'll be Draz to the back. Should have had 2 DNFs already. So we're down to 11 drivers in only the second round. Come on, lads. We gotta do better than that. Better than that. Where is everybody going? He's dropped. Not sure. We will continue on because we are now on the penultimate lap. And for the most part, positions have stayed the same for a few laps now. Roughly the same tire wear up front. Does seem like the Renault is very good on this track, and both the teammates are making good use of it. On the final lap of this round 2 sprint race. Fastest lap still belongs to Auto, who again was only his bested Swavey there by 1/100th, both on lap 4. Shush doing a little bit of drifting into both the corners there. That back left tire is looking really rough, but does seem to be doing quite well on the Audi. Mo is just behind him there, and we actually have both of our top 2 in. Top 3, Auto with the sprint win, Swavey in P2, Amy P3, Yuri P4, James in P5, Cherry P6. Shush is just going to hold off Mo for P7 it seems. O'Leary in P9, Draz in P10, and Gin Tonics will finish us up with P11. Auto Rotillon gets the fastest lap of this race. And I'm going to take a quick drink break. Quick drink break. I can speak, if I can speak normally. And we will get on to this feature race. Any predictions from the chat there? Coolio. Well, let's get moving with this feature race, as I am tired and it's very late. We wrapped up slightly after midnight now, but that's okay. So we have a reverse top 10, as per usual. There's only 11 drivers on the grid, unfortunately. So Jen is the only one who didn't get moved around at all. I think unfortunate things happening last race. Aldo with the pole position and sprint win there, so P10 for him at the moment. On the start, and Draz will be our pole position for this race. Let's see how this goes. And we're off. Round 2 feature race here. My guesstimate of 30 laps was correct. Remember that. Mo already putting a good bit of pressure on O'Leary. A little bit of a bump there from him, which will unsettle the car of O'Leary. And another little tap there, I think. So Mo clearly having a little bit more speed on the early bit of this track. Line's not looking too bad. And James putting a lot of pressure on Yuri. As Yuri goes on the inside. And Amy really trying to squeeze herself through past James, but no luck so far on that one. And the Ford is, I think, really only that good at straight line speed, so I'll be struggling through the corners a little bit. Good for a few straights on this track, though. See, he's catching up a bit at the end of what really is just one straight. And very close bunching up between P6 and P9 with Swaby, who's on very good pace so far this season. Ooh, that is Shush, who's gone off on turn 1. Let's see what happened here. Oh, Shush was squeezed off. I think he was kind of butting himself through, though. And then, yeah, just kind of swerves himself out. So that's going to be him into the back of the grid at the moment. We're keeping it very tight. Much closer racing so far than we had in the sprint race. And now it's Mo putting pressure on Draz for P1. Swaby looking to make another move here, this time for James in P6. A little bit of a tap on Yuri there, as that will kind of make a little bit of a chain reaction and unsettling James's car as well. We also have a bit of a close battle between Yuri and Cherry for P4. It is quite hard to see with the darkness at the moment. We'll fix that a little bit with staring into the headlights of this AMG. And that'll be Yuri. A little bit of a gap now in P4. Now chasing O'Leary for P3 in the Ferrari up front. And Mo and Draz battling it out. Mo's going to take the outside. Draz on the inside. Probably in a slightly better line for Draz. Get onto the long straight here. Draz should be able to shake off Mo just a little bit. Maybe not. Supra is quite quick as well. I don't know how they compare on top speed, in fairness. So Got us Mo into P1 now, but now Draz on the inside, which is going to turn into the outside as we get into the second bit of the chicane. I don't really know if it's a chicane or an S, but I'm just going to keep calling it a chicane. And it looks like Mo actually moving himself out in front early on in this race. Both on the medium tires. I'm just going to go through real quick because I forgot again. Cherry making a bit of contact with O'Leary. James just behind again, as O'Leary and James seem to always be so close to each other. As was the case last season as they finished P3 and P4. Also in Tier 4. Personal best Sector 1 there for James. Still quite early on in this race. And it looks like everybody is on the medium tire. Last race at Spa, everybody pit on the same lap except for the two that were on the hard set, which was Swavey and whoever is in the other Supra. I cannot remember off the top of my head. Mo, who's actually in front now. Yuri now putting right on the back of Draz. And Cherry behind him. We're seeing much closer racing than we have, I think, so far, at least consistency-wise. O'Leary losing a lot of momentum there. That's Swavey getting 1.5 seconds. Either very quickly given off that chicane or was earlier on. I'm not really sure, but it might have been because O'Leary was on the outside there and kind of squeezed them in. Not either one of them's fault. But the penalty system in this game is stupid. Otto Ortillon moving up to P8 from starting in P10, and that's Amy going off into the wall. Oh, that's really unfortunate because the last feature race she seemed to have some peripherals issues and DNF'd there at Spa. So Jen up to P9 now. And for some reason just not seeming to have the pace. His teammate Mo up front still at the moment. Again, this is very close racing, so it'll be quite the exciting feature race. Putting on the pressure on Draz, and Draz was the one that started in the pole position, dropped one so far. Gotta say, it's a little funny seeing the 911 number on an AMG. But there are no Porsches in this tier. I'm assuming the car was banned. I'm not sure of that. As usual in ALR, the top six cars to 6 cars in the previous season's standings are banned for the following season, which helps shake up car selection a little bit and make sure that OP cars are not overused. Whoa, Mo putting in a sector 2 there. Is purple by 1/10. We'll have to see here if he is able to finish it up cleanly enough to snatch that track fastest lap. And he will not quite do that. He's actually 3/10 off of Auto in there in the last sector. I think he had a little bit of trouble coming out of the chicane. Very close action, but not too many moves happening at the moment. Auto up another spot. I think getting past Swaby not too long ago. And Jin, who is having a very bad day, I think. Yeah. Hate to see it. Amy, a little bit of spin out there as well. She does have the pace and was doing pretty well early on. And P3 in the sprint too. Tires for the most part looking okay. We're starting to approach 50% on some of these, most of the left side tires, as usually happens on this track. We still have some very close action here between P2 and P5, and very close behind as well. But Yuri and Draz putting up most of the fight for P2 there, and Draz will get a little bit of a tap. That'll put Yuri in P2 as Draz gets a bit unsettled and drops to P6, which is quite unfortunate for him. And now he's got Auto, who has already won 2 races in this season, and I think possibly has a bid to win in this race as well. Bit of contact between Draz and Auto there, and Draz is actually going to go off wide into the grass, and he's definitely, he's going to spin there, and that's going to be not good news for him in this one. Probably a bit of frustration as he's slow getting back up to speed there. A 1 second penalty for Auto. I think he got a little bit of cut at the chicane before. But now up into P6, more steadily into P6 for Auto. And now a battle between Cherry and James is starting to flush itself out, with James going on the inside of the second right-hander. A little bit of contact, but James is going to get it off a big cleaner, and somebody spun. Oh, that's Cherry in the Lamborghini, who's reset. And now just coming back. Amy back up into P8. After doing the same thing not too long ago, Shush is going to fly past Auto as Auto serves his 1 second penalty. Which puts O'Leary, the teammates in the Ferraris, James and O'Leary in P3 and P4. Which, even as it stands, would be a great result for the Constructors' Championship. But a long way to go with 19 laps remaining, and pit stops and whole shebang really. And tire wear is definitely starting to show. This drop off is much earlier now with the update that was a month and a half or so ago. Well, with the half-second penalty, but he's going to be all right. Yuri's probably 6 or 7 seconds back. But looking very good for the Supra, currently in the winning position. Looking good in everything but tire wear. Yuri's looking kind of similar with tire wear, in fairness. And Swaby's got a bit of a bump there. I don't think that was quite wise. James gets a little bit out of sorts. Swaby actually gets a second penalty off of that. Which might be fair considering the contact he actually made, even though the penalty's not for contact. I think it was for how far in he was in the first part of the chicane. Up in P6, serving a penalty not too long ago. Otto clearly having the pace to get past these guys, but the opportunity has not shown itself quite yet. I'm really starting to question if most of these tires are going to make it to the halfway point of this race. Nearly 15 minutes in. Swaby's second penalty is about to be served, and even though he's getting past James now, he's about to lose that position. And he's probably going to lose at least 2, probably 3. Yeah, definitely 3 positions. And as he ungoes Shush, there's a little bit of contact going past him. Oh, there he's going to be the inside of Shush as he tries to keep the position. Shush seems to have good pace, and I believe is his ALR debut, and Shush actually goes into the pits quite early on. Interesting. Swaby with the half-second there. Pit lane's not the longest, definitely not as long as Spa was in the previous round. That is the first of our pit stops for this race. I'm not sure he's going to have enough fuel to finish, but we'll see. Mo's still well out in front. The race is very much in his control at the moment. But I'm certain that he's thinking about pitting at this point in the race. For dear life with the rest of this tire life this tire has. He's definitely losing a good bit of pace now. He's definitely gonna have to pit at that end of the lap. Really trying to push it there to get to the midway point. But the thing is, Yuri with the half-second there. And P2, just gonna put James in targeting range, so O'Leary, James's teammate, behind him as well, as they constantly are together. Amy with a half-second penalty as well, and we were pretty spaced out when he gets to the back there. Tire wear is going to be really big in this race, I think. Front are looking quite good. Mo is going for another lap. So he will be trying to complete the 15 laps on this set. Because he will have to complete another 15 on the second set. What I assume will be the medium tire. Yuri coming in just before the halfway point. Probably putting on another pair of mediums as well. I think we're going to see mostly medium strategy for this race. Amy's likely to come into this lap too. Oh, what in the world has happened here? All right. James braking quite a bit more than he should, which puts him right into the front of O'Leary. O'Leary gets a little tap there from Otto, which unsettles him a bit, but he seems okay so far. Oh, James goes wide. Oddly, very, very wide. Otto smacks O'Leary as he's trying to get through the pack there. And I'm not sure whose fault that is, if anyone's, in fairness. O'Leary taking the worst of that there. Oh no. And as O'Leary tries to get back on track, Draz comes up and, I mean, obviously unintentionally hits him there, but just a lot of unfortunate contact. So everyone's really pushing onto these dead tires and just nobody has any grip at all. The real battle here seems to be for P2 with Otto, who maybe questionably got through there, but again, I'm not sure if that was his fault. God. It's both... What? Swaby and Otto trying to go to the pit. Swaby gets into the pit, but Otto backs out of it very late. Which is an interesting decision. It's going to put him in first for the moment. He still's got to pit at the end of this lap, but seemingly the rest of the field will pit. Yuri as well, Jin as well. Yuri's already pitted. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how Stewart's results goes for that. Interesting. 3 seconds from Mo, as I think, yeah, he got caught up a bit there going into the pits, so that's an unfortunate one for him. Otto, I think, was just avoiding the 3-second penalty. Swavey also has a 3-second penalty, so both Supras both coming out with pit lane violations. Amy's still to serve with a half second. James having to play a bit of catch up there after some very, very unfortunate happenings on track. Draz also with a pit lane violation for 3 seconds. Otto finally comes into the pit on his own terms this time. And we'll see if that overcut was worth it. Maybe unintentional overcut, but Mo is just coming into the final chicane now. I think Otto's going to come out in front now. He definitely will. Well, both Supras had to do pens, which put Yuri in front of Swavey. Mo's far enough up on his own. Actually, Otto does not come out in front. Mo is still in the front. But Otto will have a slight advantage with tire wear as he's come out a lap later. He's not too far behind Mo. There's a bit of a distance there, but I know Otto's gunning for another win, which would make a complete sweep of this round. And would be, if he can hold us off, which I think would be quite something at this point, or if there was a mistake from Moa there, quite a large one would do it. Moa seems to be pushing quite hard. Probably really wants that fastest lap is my guess. And Swavey on the back of Otto there, and Yuri and Amy close behind. So a good battle here between P3 and P5. The rest of the field generally is pretty spread. Draz and O'Leary fighting, I think, for the second time in this race. See if O'Leary can catch Draz on the straight here. O'Leary is trying what's going to be the outside, now the inside, but he's dropped a little bit too far back because he lost that air against the Ford GT's nice top speed. James with a half-second penalty there for some sort of cut. A little bit more space now with the fight for the final podium position. Yuri putting in a very nice Sector 1. Swavey putting on the pressure on Otto. Again, Otto is going to have a good, just a lap, but it definitely matters in the overall of this race. Mo serving another half-second penalty, so that's, I think, 2 of the last 3 laps he's had half-second penalties, which is slowly chipping away at his lead. So Otto is definitely catching up a bit despite the battle here with Swavey. Swavey with a 1-second penalty, I'm assuming off the chicane just previously. And Amy's still on the tail of Yuri. Swavey's going to be put in a pretty tough position here between his 1-second penalty and the battle here between Yuri and Amy. Yuri should be able to catch up, so it might shake up this battle a little bit. Yuri's going to get past nicely, and Amy's also getting past nicely. I guess I kind of forgot how much some of these penalties impact time. James starting to catch up to Cherry here. Jin finally getting something out of this race, is now in P8 after being in P11. Well, no, that's not P11 anymore because somebody else dropped. So Jin up a few spots. Trying to claw some of these points back. And I hope Pad, it's been a kind of a rough first 2 weeks for him. Seems like Otto has dropped just slightly there on Mo. Actually, he's gained 0.2 seconds on the previous lap. And Otto seems to have dropped a little bit extra on the first sector there. A little shaky at this point. Still 10 laps to go. Otto's tires look pretty great at the moment. Amy's clearly pushing, but she's also on the soft tires, which I did not notice earlier. 10 laps left. That's might be a pretty tall order to finish this race on this set of tires. I think a bit of a risk. Swavey into P3 now, yet again. to make the most of this, but at the same time needs to try to save her tires a bit, because at this point she's going to have to pit again. That's pretty much going to be the end of her race at this rate. At this point, all you need to do is finish, because there's only 10 people left, 10 drivers left in this race, and you're guaranteed some kind of points. The gaps between the packs at the moment are quite large, but this would probably, she's gonna have to pit again. There's no way you get 9 laps out of this set. It's gonna drop her probably in a P8 or so. Maybe losing a little bit of on the grass, but not too much. I think Amy's gonna have to come in on this at the end of this lap, ideally for another set of softs, but I don't think it's really gonna matter too much at this rate. Auto is catching up to Mo. He's definitely putting the effort in and has the pace. 7/10 on the last lap, so Mo is starting to trickle down a little bit there, as what used to be a 6 to 7 second gap is now about a second and a half, 2 seconds. So early penalties that Mo caught himself, definitely not helping in the long run here. Still going on, now with the front left tire completely dead. And you can see there's no grip, especially on these 2 corners. Cherry and Yuri, definitely not for the first time today, battling it out. Yuri getting a bit of a tow, which will help pull him alongside Cherry. Coming on the inside of the chicane. Ooh, I'm not sure what that was there. But Yuri drops into P7, James up into P6 now. I didn't see any contact there, so I think that was just James. Amy's coming into pit, so that'll drop her a good few positions here. She's gonna be maybe coming out the back. A long of an exit, not the back, but no, P8, like I said before. How about that? Sometimes I'm right, most of the time I'm wrong. Oh, Mo goes way off there. 2.5 seconds. What happened? Huge cut on the end of the lap chicane. Looks like he's struggling on tire wear for some reason. That wasn't a cut there. Huh? Sorry, what? It looked pretty clean to me. Oh, no, I guess not. But not 2.5 seconds worthy, I think. That's pretty brutal. So loses a bit of time there already. Given 2.5 seconds, which is mental. And then is about to completely lose it off turn 1 here, as he's trying to compensate a bit too much, I think, for losing that time there and getting the penalty. So that's Otto, who's had a very successful day so far, up into P1. Swavey now in a good position to overtake his own teammate, who is completely out of sorts at the moment and takes himself out essentially. I'm not sure what's going on there. That was kind of odd. Maybe a peripheral issue. So Otto up into P1 yet again after pole position and sprint win from last week as well. So this puts him in line for win number 3 already. Swavey in P2, who started in the race P2 and got P2 in the sprint. And a sprint win last week. Oh, sorry, Otto got the feature win last week, not the sprint win. Correct myself at least. And Otto has the fastest lap here today at this point, so to see if he can keep that going, because that would be a complete sweep if he can hold the fastest lap now. P3 at the moment after a bit of a struggle earlier, and it seems like he's struggling in the same sections now. It's quite odd considering how he was doing in the first stint, and he's only just past halfway tire life on his front left. The rest are relatively okay at the moment. Here he's seeing a bit of pressure from Cherry still. These two are not able to shake each other. James introducing himself into this battle. Off a little bit into the grass. Swavey's still on good pace there, only just under a tenth off his fastest Sector 1. And I'd say fairly consistent through the timing board there on the right. Not too bad. But not quite enough to Otto at this point in the race. He's just been very good pace all day long. Amy with the fastest lap, but she's pitted somewhat freshly on soft tires and has snatched that fastest lap away from Otto, and it will take away from him having the absolute perfect week. But I'd say it's still a pretty perfect week at this rate. We'll have to see in 3 laps time. Jin unfortunately back to the back there with a penalty. And it just seems like this car is not really enjoying this track very much. Draz in P8 as well. O'Leary was in a incident earlier, so unfortunate for him, down in P9. Amy did get a position back from her earlier, I think, slightly miscalculated strategy, and turning into a 2-stopper. The other Renault did switch to mediums, so Otto should be able to hang on here for the end. But Swavey is not that far behind. Swavey 2/10 better on the previous lap. Big drop there for both the top two, and a little bit of additional time lost for Otto. On the penultimate lap now. The top two seeming to have very similar issues. Swavey is closing the gap very steadily. I'm not sure if it's going quite enough to really challenge him on the final lap here. With a little bit of penalty there. We'll keep an eye on our top two, as well as the slight battle for P8. Not terribly a lot of room for error, especially in the first sector, which I think definitely showed for most of the incidents in this race, or just after the first, yeah, to the first sector, at the first sector there. I think Otto's going to be able to take this one away. Mark the first sweep of the year, or first sweep of the season in Tier 4, and a very, very, very good points haul for Otto, who had a mixed week 1. That'll be Otto Rotillon in P1 with a pole position, sprint win, and feature win. Swavey in P2 with starting P2, sprint P2, and a future P2. Mo here is going to finish in P3 in his second ALR race. Good congratulations for closing out the podium in a pretty tough race here. Yuri in P4, Cherry P5, James in P6. Amy, after a little bit of strategy drop, will decide to spin it out at the finish line for P7. Draz will see some yellow flags subsequent of that spin. For P8, O'Leary, P9, and Jin, who I hope has a better week next week, in P10 as he takes his time, hits the wall, and then crosses the line. Funny enough. And also Amy there with the fastest lap extra point, taking that last bit perfect points away from Otto. I will quickly go through the standings as they are in the pre-stewards. And so, at the moment, until the stewards do or do nothing, I will actually check stewards reports too after this. Otto Artillon in P1 in the Drivers' Championship with 3 wins so far and 2 fastest laps. It's actually marked for only 1 fastest lap, but I know he has 2. I hope that's included in his point count. And 2 pole positions for both the 2 races so far. He has 70 points. That is 2 points above P2 with Swavey in the Toyota. We had the first race win of the season there with the sprint win last week, and 2 second place finishes today. 1 fastest lap. Quite a big gap there to P3. 21 points down to 47 with Cherry in the Lamborghini. The 3rd place last week in the feature. Yuri in P4. 2 4th place today. Only 2 points back on 3rd with 45. With 41 points is P5 Mo in this Toyota. 2 3rd place finishes for him this season so far. James in P6 with 31 points at a fastest lap. Amy in P8 with 30 points at a fastest lap. Jin in P9 with 21 points. O'Leary in P10 with 20 points. Draz in P11 with 16. And for those who raced today, except for Shush, who DNF'd there in the future, he is sitting in 15th as a reserve with 4 points. And for the constructors, which I forgot to cover last round, apologies. Currently in the pre-stewards, we have first place Team Toyota with 109, Team Renault in P2 with 100 even, and it looks like Lamborghini in P3 with 60 points. So a bit of a gap there as well, past P2. And let's see the stewards real quick. Yeah, there's definitely some. Yeah, that incident was definitely reported. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm not really sure. It's lag or somebody's fault there. It was a bit of a mess generally. Yeah, there's quite a few reports. I think around the same 2, 3 incidents. Yeah, and that report. That's a silly report. We're not going to talk about that though. Anyway, have a great night. Thank you for joining me once again. We'll see you for next round, which is at Suzuka Grand. I love Suzuka. That's probably my second favorite track. For 8 laps of a sprint and 20 laps of a feature. I think we have some guaranteed rain as well, so that will shake things up massively. So that sounds like a very exciting round. I'm not sure when we'll be able to do this next week, possibly on the same Thursday, probably. But I will let you all know as per usual. Thank you again for joining. It's great having you, and catch you next time. Peace.